Hey guys, how are ya? It is Sunday. What is today? I'm moving my chair over here. You can't see me. It's caught on my cord. Hold on one second for me. Let's see. What is today? Today is Sunday, February 24th. And I was going to have a live class for this wreath, which is it was going to be a winter burlap and ribbon wreath, but I kept moving it around because we had other classes that I wanted to do. So now I think I'm going to do mine with a spring theme. The nice thing about this type of a wreath is, I'm knocking everything over with my chair here. I really need a bigger craft room. You can't see what's going on behind the scenes here because I kind of have my camera set up a different way. I noticed in class the last time that the angle that I had my camera wasn't ideal. And, I kind of set it up that way specifically because I don't like for you just to see my hands and, the wreath. I feel that's not really personal. I want you to be able to see me as well. But, for purposes of learning, you really need to be able just to see my hands and see the wreath form and see what I'm doing. So I've actually got my camera set up straight up over my table. I've got it down a little bit closer because I want you guys to be able to learn. And the angle that it was at the other day, just, it is more personable. You could see me, not just my hands, but again, this is a learning experience, and I want everyone to be able to really see what I'm doing. What I think I might do is get another camera so I can have a couple of different angles I can switch back and forth. So, but for now, this I think is a really good angle for you to see what I'm doing. And again, I'm going to be doing a spring theme, I think. You can really do any theme that you want. I'm just going to try to push my table back a little bit more here. Bear with me. Let's pray nothing falls over. You can choose any color burlap that you want. You can choose any color ribbon that you want, any theme, any embellishments. Now, the one in the picture was sort of a winter theme, and it had plaid ribbon, like a Christmas type ribbon, and some pine and whatnot. But I thought I would just use the regular burlap, the regular natural burlap. These are really big rolls I got from Walmart. I'm not even quite sure how much is on this roll, 30 feet. So these are really big rolls. I'm probably not even going to need to use both. Let's wait and see. It's been a while since I've done one of these. But I have this really pretty spring ribbon, this flowered ribbon. I'm going to see how that's going to work. You're going to want to get the wider ribbon. It looks better with the 2.5-inch ribbon. And then I thought maybe I'd put a couple of pretty flowers in the corner. You don't really want to add too much to a burlap wreath because burlap is naturally pretty on its own and it's rustic. So you're not going to want to add a bunch of different embellishments. But I got these, where did I get these? I got these from the at-home store. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just pluck a couple of these off and kind of stick them in the corner opposite the bow. So I'll put the bow on the upper left-hand side and maybe I'll put some flowers down in the lower right. But this is still considered a pull-through. Let me turn my heater off because it's actually kind of warm here in upstate New York today. It's what is it? It's like almost 50, which is a heat wave for here. So this type of a pull-through was a little bit different. Now I'm just going to cut this piece off the end because it's kind of folded a little bit. We've done pull-through ruffles with burlap, but I'm pretty sure I did do a class at one point with the pull-through. I'm going to call this either a pull-through bubble or a pull-through poof, whichever. But you're basically, when you first get started, you have to sort of figure out how you want your burlap to lay, or whichever is more comfortable for you. But what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be making little poofs. I guess I'm going to try laying it like this. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. But what you're going to want to do, I'm going to do it this way, I think. Don't worry about the cut ends. It's going to fray a little bit, but it's all going to be like squished together when you are all said and done. What you're going to want to do is you have 3 spaces here. You have 4 rings. This is a Dollar Tree form. Don't use any a wreath form any bigger than 15 inches. This is 14¼ inches. That's how big the Dollar Tree forms are. I think they have smaller ones now too. I thought I read somewhere that they have 8-inch wreath forms too, which are really small. But it's got 4 rings, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can use a 12-inch form too. Dollar General has the 12-inch forms. But you have 3 spaces to pull your bubbles through. 4 rings and 1, 2, 3 spaces. Do you see the 3 spaces here? Okay, 3 spaces. I'm trying to move my burlap so you can see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you're going to be pulling your bubbles or your poofs up through those 3 spaces. So, you know, I think I might start by zip tying it just to hold it in place. You don't have to do this, but sometimes I do just to kind of anchor it as you're getting started. And then when you come back around on the other side, you can undo this. You're going to have to undo it anyway because it's going to be in the way. So just kind of flip it over. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to anchor it. It doesn't really matter to any one of the bars here. Leave a couple of inches. Maybe I'll go right around this middle bar here, or the second bar from the inside. Make sure you have your zip tie the right way, the flat side facing in, so when you pull it, you get that zip. That's what's going to lock it. So this is just being done just to hold my burlap in place as I get started. When I come around the other side, I may undo it, I may cut it off. I'm not quite sure yet. I got to see how it looks when I get there. Usually with the rough zip tie, but this is a little bit different. So this is just going to anchor it in place. So you can see I just kind of have it to the second bar here. And then you're going to start pulling your burlap through. I'll have it this way, I guess. Okay. You're going to make little bubbles or little poofs. Okay, so go through the first ring. Okay. Now, I don't know. I would say you kind of have to eyeball it. You don't want to make them too big. And when you first get started, it's going to feel a little clumsy. And what I mean by clumsy, you're going to be like, all right, why doesn't this look the way I want it to look? It does not have to look perfect. Don't aim for perfect little poofs. Okay, you're going for rustic. And don't forget that when you are done, you're going to put ribbon over it anyway. So here's a little poof here. I would say maybe that's, I don't know, a couple of inches. And hold that in place. So I went through the first space here. Okay, I pulled this little poof up through the first space here. Okay, now I'm going to go to, you can see with my hand, the second one. I'm going to pull another poof up right next to it, but through the second one. Same exact thing. Now you're going to have to try to hold the first one in place while you're pulling the second one through. And again, don't aim for perfection because you're going to be squishing these together pretty tightly. So don't look for it to be a perfect little poof. And you're going to put ribbon over it too. I'm just trying to, it's better if you try to get your burlap to curl under like that. Do you see what I mean? How I've got it like sort of curling under? Because then when you pull your poof through, there. So you see how I kind of have my piece of burlap folded like that as I'm pulling it through? That'll help you to get a better shape. Look at it and make sure that they're both about the same size. This one looks like it's a little bit bigger than this one, so I'm going to just pull a little bit more through. Again, don't look for perfection because as we're as we're doing our poofs, just like with the ruffle, we're going to be squishing them over. You want them to be nice and tight, okay? So now I have two poofs. I have one through this first one, and I have one through the second one. Okay, now I'm going to do one through the third one. We're going to have 3 rows of poofs. So again, if you can try to keep your burlap folded with your right hand like this, see how I have it kind of folded over? So when you're pulling your poof through, it just makes it a little bit easier. And then as you pull it through, then you can kind of reach in and poof it out a little bit. Does that make sense? So you have it folded as you're pulling it through, but then once you get it through, you can kind of poof it out. And when you're done, when you get all your little poofs through, then you can kind of go through with your hands and, you know, poof it out a little bit, just like you would do with a mesh wreath. Okay, so I'm kind of holding them together with my right hand here. But that's your first little section. You've got 3 little poofs pulled through, just like that. And it doesn't look like anything great right now, but because we have to pull quite a few more through to get the look that we're looking for. But it's kind of, like I said, it's going to be a little bit challenging because you're going to have to try to hold it like with your left hand. Like hold these first 3 that I pulled through with my left hand, and I'm going to start making my next round of poofs with my right hand. So again, I've got my burlap folded in half. And we're going to go back to the top, okay? This top ring. Go back up through there and pull your next little bubble through. Don't worry if the other ones, you know, start to flop over or whatever, because like I said, when you get them all in and they're nice and tight, you're going to squeeze as many into this first section as you can. When they're all pushed through and they're nice and tight, they're going to hold each other in place, okay? And again, we're not looking for perfection, okay? So I've got this first little bubble here, about a couple of inches pulled through. The top one again, where we started here. Now we're going to go back through the second one. Hold it with your left hand. Just squish them all together. And even, you know, I'm having a little bit of a challenge here, but I'm trying to get it so it's like folded a little bit here. Make sure you have enough room to work and you're not all squished. So you have your, ready to make your next poof. You're going to go through that the second one here now, okay, with your next bubble. Once you push that through and you got a couple inches, then you can poof it out a little bit, pull it out a little bit, pull or poof or whatever, just so it's opened up a little and it's not folded anymore. Okay, again, don't freak out and think, all right, well, this poof is a little bigger than that one or whatever, because they're all going to be all squished together. And I have my first 2. I did this one again, and I did this one again. Now I'm going to go up through, whoops, I don't know where I am, the bottom one here. Okay, so we're going to have 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 poofs all the way across. Poofs, bubbles, whatever you want to call them. My fold came out. You don't have to do the fold, but it's just, it makes it easier for me when I'm pulling it through. And then once I get it pulled through, then I can, you know, poof it out a little bit. Okay. So as you're going across, as you're pulling your poofs through, and again, you can go through after and adjust all your poofs. You don't have to do it as you're going along like I am. Just make sure that after you do each row of 3, 1, 2, 3, you just push it over with your left hand and keep it in place because you want to, again, make these nice and tight. Okay, now we're going to go up again to the top space. You have 3 spaces. Remember, 4 bars, but 3 spaces to put your poofs through. Don't freak out, just go slow. Just try to keep them about the same size. Again, I think they're a couple inches, but just keep squishing that over as you go, because you want to be able to fit as much in as you can. If you feel more comfortable standing, like I feel like I can't really get a good view of the sizes of my poofs here when I'm sitting. I'm a stander anyway. I'm a standing wreath maker. I know a lot of people like to sit. I see a lot of Facebook Lives and wreath makers are sitting, but it's easier for me to stand. You're going to get some fibers flying around because it is burlap. I know a lot of people are afraid of that. They're nervous. But honestly, unless you work with burlap every single day, I know there are some wreath makers out there that that's all they do is burlap. I would then recommend wearing a mask, but if you just make a burlap wreath here and there, don't worry about it. You're going to have a little bit of a scratchy throat, have some water. So now I have 1, 2, 3 rows. They don't really look like rows because I have them squished together, but I've pulled it through 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here's another one down here, and 1, 2, 3. Squish it over with your hand as far as it can go, and start back up again at the top. I'm just pulling it up here because I want you to be able to see. About a couple inches. Just keep squishing that over. Again, once you get all your little poofs through and you have a nice amount, you want it to be nice and tight, okay? Once you have that one section filled and it's tight, then you can kind of go through and adjust your bubbles a little bit to make sure that they're all, about the same size. Again, I'm gonna move this chair. Everything's falling over. Don't worry about perfection. Let's go back up again through the top. My shadow was in the way here. Can't see. Again, just try to keep that squished over with your left hand as you're pulling it through with your right. Up through the second. And then the third. You can see how it's starting to really fill in nicely, but you want it tight. So I'm pushing it over again. I think I can probably get 1 or 2 more in here. But these are 30-foot rolls of burlap that I got from Walmart. I think if you were to buy your burlap at Joann's or Hobby Lobby, I'm pretty sure they're only 15 feet. So I'm going to probably end up using both of these 30-foot rolls. But if you go to Joann's or Hobby Lobby, you're going to need twice as much. You're going to need 4 because the rolls aren't as long. I'm pretty sure they're 15 feet. Could be wrong. I don't work with burlap all that often, so I just don't recall. And I don't know if I have any from. Hobby Lobby handy right now. I didn't realize it was after 4 here already. I went to start this tutorial at 2, And then I got a phone call, and I ended up being on the phone for almost an hour, so that delayed me a little bit. But you know what? Sundays are nice. Sundays are my low-key days. They're the days I don't have to get up early. There's not really any sort of a set plan on Sundays. My daughter just took off for the evening, so she's not going to be home for dinner. So it's just going to be my son and I. And probably going to make some chicken cutlets and some homemade mac and cheese. Doesn't that sound good? It sounds like a nice Sunday dinner. And you want to make sure that your little poofs are about the same size. Now that seems like it's pretty tight. I think I have 5 rows of 3 pulled through here. You really can't tell because they're all squished together. But I do have 5 rows of 3 poofs. And I'm trying to think if I want to do another one because you do want them tight together. I think I'm going to do one more. So I'm going to have 6 rows of little poofs in each section, and I think that's gonna be good. 5 look like it would have been all right, but I really, like I said, I really want these to be tight together. And again, if your poofs are perfectly round or they're a little misshapen, that's okay. That is totally okay. Don't forget, we're going to be covering it with ribbon. I'm going to be doing some little ribbon streamers, I guess, over your burlap. So this is perfect. This is nice and tight. And again, if you just want to wait until you're totally done with your wreath, and then you can go around and you can adjust your poofs a little bit. Maybe this one's a little too big, or this one's a little too small, etc., etc. And you can go ahead and adjust them. I'm just sort of like trying to fix them now. Okay. And that's that. That is one section, okay? That's it. That is really all you do when you're doing the pull through, poof or bubble, I call it, with burlap. You can do this with mesh too. Dollar Tree mesh is really great for this method. You can do Dollar Tree pull through ruffle too. But one of the reasons why this is good for Dollar Tree mesh is because you don't cut it. You're just pulling it through, and you know, any method involving mesh that you don't cut is great because you don't have to worry about the phrase. All right, so what I'm going to do right now, you guys, is I'm just going to pause the video. You can see I did the one section here. I'm going to continue doing 6 in each section all the way around until we're full. And then I'm going to come back and we'll put our ribbon on. I'll be right back. Hey guys, it's me, I'm back. So I actually finished my first roll. So I was about to start the second roll, and you can see I did 3 sections. You really can't see from the back because it's covered. And when you turn your wreath around, you can see that it's kind of puffing out a little bit. See how I kind of flattened this? Just go around the back and just kind of push these pieces through. You see how they're like puffing out a little bit? I mean, it's really not a big deal. It's, you know, but if you want to look a little bit cleaner in the back, just push those pieces through. Now, again, like I said, you can't really see, but I ended up using the entire first roll for 3 sections, okay? 3 3 of these sections here. There's 6 total in a Dollar Tree form. And I actually was able to put one more row of 3, it's kind of loose, with the rest of the roll. So this is one roll. So I did 3 sections plus 1, it's kind of popping out here. It doesn't really matter because once I get the rest of the burlap in, it will, because you'll see that it kind of holds itself together. As you're pulling the rest of your burlap through and getting it all squished in there, you're not going to have to worry about anything coming out because it's squished in there so tightly, you know, that it kind of holds itself together. So don't worry, oh, my burlap, my little bubbles are going to come out. As long as you have enough in there, and like I said, I was able to pull 6 rows of 3. So again, we're doing 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 bubbles, pulling 1 bubble through each of these sections. And I did 6 of those little pull-throughs of 3 per section, okay? But I had a little bit left over, so I was able, in my roll, so I was able to do 1 more in this very next section, section number 4. But what I wanted to show you before I started on the next one, as you can see, this is the end of my roll. I think I'm going to zip tie this piece down. All right, so let me get my bubbles through again. I've got 1, 2, and then I've got 1 more. But I'm going to zip tie the end of this roll down just for a little extra security. Just kind of flip it over, and here's my piece here. I'm going to fix that bubble because I'm kind of pulling it out a little bit. I'm just going to kind of get maybe 1 inch or so on there. And I'm going to go backwards with it to where I already pulled through. Just a little bit, not too far. Just kind of, I'm just attaching it around the bottom bar here just to get it out of the way. And to kind of hold it, because that's the end of the roll. I don't want it. You can trim these off or whatever, but now I got to go back and fix this because it kind of pulled out a little bit. So I have 1 bubble in the top. I should not have worn a black shirt. 1 bubble through the top. 1 through the middle. I'm kind of just trying to adjust the size here because I was pulling at it a little bit when I was zip tying it. So let me fix this a little bit. Again, my bubbles are probably, or poofs are probably a couple of inches each. And again, they don't have to be perfect. Now, these are a little bit loose because I don't have anything on this side holding it together. But once I put the rest of my burlap in, that'll solve that issue. Let me cut these extra little frays off. It doesn't really matter. This is just the end of your roll. Does not really matter how it looks in the back. If you're going to be giving this to a customer or as a gift, and I know I wanted to show you this, I actually have to ship out a St. Patrick's Day wreath. And what I do with the backs of my wreaths is I buy these from the, you can get them from the Dollar Tree, you can get them from Walmart. They're placemats. This one came from Walmart. 15 inches in diameter. And what's nice about these is they fit perfectly. Actually, this one seems a little bit bigger. I might need to trim that down a little bit. Maybe they started making these bigger. I don't know, but usually they fit perfectly on the back of your wreath. And you can just zip tie. The zip tie will go right through that. Or you might need to poke like a little tiny hole. But this is how I finish the backs of my wreaths. I might need to cut a little bit off. It seems like the last time I bought one of these, it fit pretty perfectly, but And you just zip tie this onto the back of your wreath. Again, you might need to poke a little hole, but it's really easy to do with scissors or whatever. A knife. So you can just poke a little slit and put your zip tie through there and zip it right to the back of your wreath form. And you have a nice clean back. It covers pipe cleaners and whatever. It was like $2, I think. Okay, so I wanted to pop back on quick. I do need to finish the rest of this, but see how this is all popping out, my first row of bubbles. Once I get the rest of my burlap in there. But I wanted to show you that I'm going to zip tie this again because I'm starting a new roll. Just take a couple of inches or whatever. This piece that's folded is probably good. When it comes folded for some reason. So just gather that together. And I'm just going to zip tie this to the back. Again, I'm going to do it. It doesn't really matter where you do it because as long as I'll just do it right here. Just find a bar that you can attach it to. It does not really matter as long as you've got something to hold it. Again, I've got a couple of inches on there. There's my little piece. I need to go get dinner started. And then I'll come back and I'll finish this. Because it's actually 5:45 right now. So here's the piece that I zip tied. If you want to cut some of that off a little bit, you can. As long as you have enough on there to hold it. All right. So see how this is all like coming out? It's all wonky. We'll fix that. Push it over. And we can start with our new roll. Again, I'm going to continue like I was doing and just sort of fold it over a little bit and then push it through. And just continue doing what we've been doing all the way around. Pull a little 2-inch bubble through. I'm not going to worry so much about how it's still folded as I pull it through. Again, like I said, I'm sort of folding it over as I'm pulling it through. It makes it a little bit easier. And then when I get it through, I can go ahead and I can adjust my little bubbles to make sure that they're all the same size. But I'm not going to do that until I get the section filled. So now right here we have 2 sections of 3. I already had 1, 2, 3 that I started with the remaining roll, the first roll. Now this is my second roll. 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to keep going until I get 6. Go back up to the top again. And I'm not going to really, fix each one as I'm going along. I want to get it all in there. And then when it's full, when I have 6, then I'll come back and I'll adjust what needs to be adjusted. Poof them out a little bit or whatever. I kind of feel like they look a little bit better when they're not really opened up all the way, if that makes sense. I'll show you in a minute. So you kind of have to use both hands here. You use one hand to pull your burlap through. You're kind of use whatever method works best for you, and the other hand to squish it over. You got to have one hand at all times, kind of like pushing it over to hold it. This one's sort of popping out over here, so. But again, when you get them all squished together, that's why it's important to have 6 rows of 3, because that's a nice tight fit. And that's what you want. And that's also going to ensure that your bubbles aren't going to pop out. You have them. squished in there nice and tight. I think I have one more, and that'll be 6 rows. I hope you can see what I'm doing, but I'm trying to hold it with my left hand as I'm pulling it through with my right. Well, kind of a combination of both. And then as I'm getting them all through, and I have all 6 rows of 3 little burlap poofs, then I'm kind of going through. These little fibers go everywhere. And then I'll just kind of go through but they're packed in so tight here, you know, you don't really need to worry about opening them up too much. Again, we're going to be putting our ribbon over it. Check the back, make sure it's all tucked in. But again, if you're going to cover it up with that placemat, you're not even going to see that. As long as they're all about the same size, you're good. Don't be, you know, going crazy trying to make each poof all exactly. It's supposed to look a little rustic and uneven, even though mine looks pretty darn good. And you can see how fast I pulled those through. You don't have to go that fast, but you also don't have to, again, try to make them perfect because you're going to drive yourself crazy. And then, like I said, we're going to take our ribbon. I'm just kind of opening it up quickly to show you. And we're going to, I'm not doing this right now, just to give you an idea of what we're going to do. We're going to take the ribbon with the pipe cleaners, and we're going to go around and make little poofs like that all the way around the burlap. So that's going to be covering that too. So that's why, again, you don't have to worry that your little burlap poofs are perfect. Say that 10 times fast. Burlap poofs are perfect. So I'm going to take another little break, ladies, and make my dinner. And then I'm going to come back and finish this wreath. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'll come back and finish it off camera because I'm pretty much doing the same thing. You know, I'm just pulling 3 rows of poofs through each of the 3 spaces in the wreath form. And 6 per section, 6 rows of 3. And that's it. And I've only got, you know, 2 more to go. So I'm going to take a little break, make my dinner, come back and finish these 2 sections, and then we'll put the ribbon on. I'll be back. Thank you.